Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nonchalant here, back with another video, back on that time, that grind, that money green line, and I don't get paid for this, so we do it for fun. Okay, so let me go ahead and fix the camera and get y'all right real quick. All right, what y'all boys up to today? You already know, start this video up with a prayer as always, and let's go ahead and get started now, shall we? Dear Heavenly Father, may you watch over anybody that's watching this video, any individual that may need of helping over their struggles, and that they find peace within themselves to inspire others to do the same, and that they always come to you for any questions they may have about the world or reality in general, and that their problems and stuff that may occur to them in the future may be answered through you, Father. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Now, today's topic, I wanted to get into talking about relationships today. It's very, as you know, society has made relationships a big thing. Just not all just social media, but just how people interact. I think a lot of times people are very skeptical about the person they're talking to. And I mean skeptical as in, like, of course, like the opposite gender. Like, you know, like I think a lot of times we have this idea that men and women can't be friends, or just like get to know them, I feel like. And I think, in my opinion, that's somewhat true, but also not, because a lot of times when you meet people, it's very hard in this day and age to want to be able to show that it's not that you're a trusting person. And I think everybody's very on edge about how they want to be perceived and not come off too weird or too like, oh, I'm too eager. You know, I think that's one crucial thing. I feel like in this, you know, in society now where everything's like sort of not about love, it's sort of about I'm trying to protect myself so I don't get hurt. And I kind of think about it in a way that, like, for me, I've always had trouble with relationships, and not even just like romantic relationships, but platonic as well. And I think that's one thing for me that I can like just say vulnerably, like, it's not something that's very easy, you know, because I've been hurt. Everybody's been hurt, and we all have our struggles that make us human, you know. And I think the key thing, I think a lot, but because this is all my perspective. If you have a different belief about me, you know, if you have a different belief or a different perspective, and just put it down in the comments as always, bro. You already know what to do. Also hit that like button or hit that dislike button. Either way, I don't care. But back to what I was saying. Relationships, I think a lot of people value a lot of different things in a relationship, and a lot of those things could also be bad. And it's like, it's all stemmed from trauma, which I made a video about about a week ago. I made a video about trauma, and it was basically giving the rundown of how it kind of gets, you know, it sets the foundation of how people interact with other people and just how they perceive life, and just you know, how they go about, you know, their adulthood. And I think honestly trauma is not something that you should, you know, be defined by, but you know, a lot of times we let it do that because we don't really know how to, you know, understand it and know how to like interpret life otherwise. And so, like, for somebody that may have been abused early on in their childhood, and they might go into their adulthood not realizing like this is what love is, it makes it really hard for somebody to go and break out of that curse, or out of that like sort of, you know, spell or whatever you want to call it. But in my eyes, I think a lot of people be searching for the wrong things, and and even for me to say like this, like I said, I've always turned to social media for things that make. All right, my fault, y'all. I cut off. All right, back to what I was saying. But yeah, I usually would cut off I would usually go into turn to social media for all the problems that we go through. Because if you think about it, what would life be without our phone? Like, what could you even imagine? Like, bro, just think about how people were actually interacting with each other. I'm pretty sure we're all aware of the things how like people were a century ago. Like, people were a lot more interactive than than just being able to like engage with somebody on the phone. And I feel like once they kind of met people, and that one person, you felt like it was just like a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you feel like you would meet somebody and it was sort of like some sort of like oh, this person, I don't know if, you know, I don't know if anybody knows this person. Like, nobody, you know, it's like you kind of win some sort of like prize, or you kind of feel like you got somebody that nobody knows about. But nowadays, I feel like in you know, with relationships, it's like people are searching for some sort of like either status or beauty or some sort of money or some sort of like value in what the partner can give, and it's sort of like it's just transactional. Everything's transactional in this world, and I feel like now it's sort of becoming a problem. It's been a problem. I'm not even gonna say it's becoming. It's been a problem for like the longest, since the first phone was ever created. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's been a reoccurring like process of just evolution in terms of how people interact. And this is my thought process on it, in which you watch this video, so you're gonna have to listen. But either way, like if you have any differences in how you may interpret what I'm saying, I'm just saying like that the way the world is running right now, they run in circles on everybody, and you gotta stay woke. You gotta stay locked in on what you got going on, bro. Like it's either any ladies watching this, like make sure that the guy that's treating, make sure the guy that he really wants you and not just using you for your beauty and your looks. Because a lot of women typically get fooled into thinking like a guy's into them, or they but reality, like I'm gonna tell you as a guy, bro, there's a lot of guys out here that really just don't give a crap about a lot of women, and they just blatantly just call anybody or any woman just out of their name, and it's sort of like disgusting in my eyes. But everyone has their own free will of saying, the freedom of speech or whatnot, but just don't let a guy play you. And for the guys out there, don't let a woman play you into thinking like she really wants you, and she's just using you as some sort of like validating ego booster, which a lot of guys do that too, but it's more prominent with women. I do think that I think a lot because it's really all my perception. I don't want y'all to think like, oh, you gotta listen to what I'm saying. No, bro, you don't gotta listen to me. You have every right to click off the video, leave a dislike if you want to, but it's at the end of the day, it's my opinion. And if you have something to say otherwise, then you can go ahead and say it. For those who may want to speak up about it, it's just one thing that I picked up on, because I'm kind of going through this right now when it comes to just talking, to be able to. It's kind of like just expressing myself in a way that people can maybe understand and maybe connect with some people that may not, they may not have that emotional support for themselves, and me talking to them for them to connect with me is I think an important thing, because a lot of people aren't able to really find that, and I think it's really key to finding yourself. A lot, and majority of times in relationships, a lot of people are searching for the wrong things because they're not mature enough. And to tell you the truth, it's okay. It's not the end of the world that they're not going to be able to grow, or they might grow. It's all a choice. Like some people wait too long. Some people are able to get it quicker than others, and some people get it right on time. There's no perfect time to really, be able to learn that you're the person that needs to work on themselves a little bit more for you to reach that kind of level of like understanding, this is what's toxic about me and I need to break out of this old habit. Because even things about myself that I know is kind of like bothering, maybe might bother somebody or somebody that may just understand it. I want things to be kind of very cordial when it comes to people. Like I want people to understand me in a way that they can see that I'm not trying to attack or have any sort of like I'm not trying to come at them the wrong way, because a lot of things could be misinterpreted, misunderstood, and communication is key. As you already know, communication in a relationship or whatever it may is, just any relationship is key to everything. And some people aren't accepting to communication, which is also a big problem. So if you have a flaw where you just don't listen, that's something you probably want to look into, because that's not a good. Because sometimes I'm not saying that but communication is number one when it comes to people. You gotta socially be able to take accountability. You gotta be able to socially know how to interact, and not interact, but I mean like more interact, but just in a way that is not how to solve problems in a way that can be cordial. And also some people they take the toxic traits and try to project them onto others. That's another thing I picked up on. But all in all, a lot of times it's just searching for the wrong things. And they kind of look for like a dopamine spike when trying to get their highs and lows of emotions and all their, just they want to feel alive. And I think a lot of times when people don't want to feel that they are compatible with somebody, they want to kind of just they want to feel compatible in a way that kind of feels like a roller coaster. Everything is sort of just fun, and everything is just, oh, this is a movie. Everything is just, you know what I'm saying? Like, but no, bro, it's not. I mean, sometimes it's gonna be like that. Don't get me wrong. God tells us that relationships are not supposed to be perfect. It's meant to help one another grow into being better people. And then, obviously, as time goes on, you procreate and whatnot, and start just being able to, get older and whatnot. But the thing is, I think with sometimes in this current age, it's just sometimes people just don't want the smooth sailing of being able to be secure. They just want to be able to have that emotional fun and have that sort of like sort of that sort of non-stagnant just fluctuation, and it's not stable. I think it's just very chaotic, and a lot of times, it's not supposed to be overly boring, but don't get me wrong, but it's supposed to be just at least somewhat of a little fun ride. But and also another thing is also, I want to point out why relationships also kind of messed up is because there's two things that's going on right now. There's the gender war, and as you already know, if you don't know what a gender war is, it's basically some bull crap that people have this agenda of thinking like men hate women and women hate men. I don't think neither one of us hate each other. I think the thing is, the media is making us believe that we all hate each other, and because if you think about it, what would life be without a woman? What would life be without a man? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, who would be the most nurturing people, most nurturing, empathetic people on this planet? It's obviously women. And who would be the laborious people that would be the hardworking, just physical labor work? Like, who would do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody understands. Like, not gonna say nobody. Some people understand that it's not all about just transactional. Oh, you don't do this, you don't do that. It's all about just peace and communication. Like, peace, communication, having harmony amongst other people, and then people just want to feel that they want to attack other people just out of hatred, and it's just this propaganda that's being pushed by certain small demographic of people, and also just the higher, I want to say the higher ups, because they want to turn us against each other, just like how they want to turn black people against each other, and then turn just all the races against each other. I'm not even going to just say black people, because everybody literally is turning against each other, whether your gender, your race, your sexuality, but they all want to just see us fall apart. And the truth is, you don't want to fall into that category, because one day, Jesus is going to come, and judgment day will fall upon every one of us. And yeah, you don't want to be one that's going to be holding grudges and resenting people because of them wanting to live their life the way they want to. So that's all I gotta say. For the people that heard this video, I pray that you take in what I'm saying and don't fall into that crowd, because the whole point of literally religion is to spread love. I think, or at least Christianity. I can't speak for Islam and Judaism, but I'm pretty sure they all fall in somewhat of the same category. I would say I would say worship God is obviously the most key thing, an important key thing about just religion in general. Worship God and cherish what you have with Him, because a lot of people don't. So, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. You already know what to do. I just said it again. I'm going to say it again. Why not? Be sure to like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. All right. Bye.